how's it going? So we caught an octopus yesterday out in the boat with Digby. So I'm going to do pickled octopus. So we'll run through what we do. So he's still totally whole, guts, everything's still in him. So we want to pull out his guts first. So thumbs up in there. Just turn it inside out. And then we'll just cut just behind there. There's all his guts out. Chopping just below the eyes and just above the eyes, don't need them. And then in the middle of the tentacles there you can see his beak, so put your finger on this side and just give it a push up and that'll pop out. Should pop out. There it is. Right, we'll just wash this and then we will chuck it in some boiling water and we're going to boil it probably, or simmer it probably for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, just so we can clean all the skin off it. Right, small pots for Miyaki, so we'll drop him in. The large pot is for my glass jar. So I want to sterilise my jar and lid before we use it. So we'll fill that up with water. Drop the lid in there, and then the jar will go in, and we want the jar standing up and totally covered in water. That way there's no air bubbles in it, and the whole thing will get sterilised. And then we just bring that up to the boil and just let that boil for a few minutes. Righto, the jar's been boiling away there for 3 or 4 minutes, so we'll just turn that off. And that can just sit in the hot water until we're ready to use it. The Yaki's simmering away nicely, and we'll just leave that for another 20 odd minutes. Alright, so our Aki's ready to pull out. Now that we're getting close, we'll put our sterilised jar back on and bring that back up to the boil because we want that hot when we put everything together. Right, for our pickling liquid, we want 100 ml of white wine vinegar, 80 and tablespoon a bit more, 100 mils, 150 mils of water, 80, 150. Next we want 100 grams of caster sugar, we want 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil, one teaspoon of salt, and the juice of half a lemon. So this is going to go in the heat to heat up. While that's heating up, we'll chop our salad. So we're going to use 1/4 of an onion. Just slice that up. Garlic cloves everywhere. We'll use a couple of garlic cloves. So I'll slice these. One red chilli sliced. Roughly half a jalapeno chopped up. That's probably about halfway. We don't want to chop it up real fine, just chunky. Chunky's good enough. And then we want about 1/8 of a cup each of coriander and basil. And we want a few peppercorns, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of peppercorns, which is not this many, roughly 1/4 of a teaspoon is probably more about that amount. I'm going to get about half of them, and I'm just going to crack them under the knife. So our pickling liquid has come to the boil, the sugar's dissolved, so we'll take that off. We've got our hot octopus and our sterilising jar, our preserving jar. So everything's hot. Salad ingredients are raw. Alright, we'll start off with our octopus. So what we want to do is clean the skin off him. Run them under some water and the skin will just rub off. all the tentacles, rub all the suckers off them. Rub all that skin off. Dip it in the body. What we want to do with our octopus now is just cut it into sort of bite-sized chunks. Just cut straight through the middle. And basically just separate out each leg. And we'll cut them into about, I don't know, 2 centimetre pieces. Now we're going to mix everything in with the salad, mix it all up. Peppercorns. Right, now we're going to grab our hot lid in our jar. So the mixture goes into the jar. And then our hot pickling liquid gets tipped over the top of it. Lid goes on the jar. Get as much of that air out as possible, a bit of a shake around. Open it up again. You don't want it right to the top, but pretty close to it. You just want a little bit of room there at the top. Right. Right, we're going to chuck the whole thing back in the water and we're going to bring it back up to the boil and we're going to boil it for about 2 minutes. Righto, it's been boiling for a few minutes. Because everything inside it, well apart from the octopus but and the salad, but the liquid and all that inside it was boiling hot, the jar was hot. We don't need to boil it for an extended period of time. So just a couple of minutes just to get it good, and that will be good to hopefully, if I did it all right, will be good to sit on the shelf for a wee while. I don't know if you can see on there properly, but the lid is actually blowing, or you know, it's quite firm, so it's in a bit of a dome shape, which is what we want while it's hot, and as it cools down the lid should suck in and create a really good seal, and that's one of the indicators that we've done everything right. There you go, pickled octopus.